Fans in the Bay Area have now seen their Dubs achieve the ultimate glory for the 4th time in 8 years. Franchise legend and one of the greatest players to ever lace him up in Wardell Stephen Curry II finally received his first career Finals MVP. All-Star starter Andrew Wiggins was as tough as a second option as they come, and Steve Kerr proved himself yet again as the best coach in the association. Game 6 Klay may not have lived up to his name, but the should-have-been MIP and 6th Man of the Year in Jordan Poole showed up when the Warriors needed him most, so this video fully breaks down how the Chef and the Warriors' Juggernaut officially became 2022 NBA champions. Only 13.1% of you watching right now have done this, so for NBA hot takes and breakdowns, which you can't miss, subscribe and hit the bell. The Boston Celtics had their chances in Game 6 and throughout this series, but I'll be the first one to admit I was wrong about the C's, which I'll further break down in tomorrow's video. Stephen Curry proved me wrong, like he did to so many in the basketball universe. Most specifically, he proved Kevin Durant wrong, who still feels like he was the most important player to the Warriors dynasty based off his recent tweets. And of course, Kevin left the Warriors franchise back in 2019. KD felt the best thing for his career would be to leave behind the player whose vacuum-esque gravitational pull opened up every bit of space for him to go off. You can argue all you want about who was more valuable during the prime dynasty years, but the bottom line is, Kevin Durant's Nets were swept by the very Boston Celtics that Stephen Curry just annihilated. The greatest shooter in the history of our game is now at the very least a top 5 player of all time in my book, as the Chef defines what the phrase 3-level scorer truly means. The best part about Steph Curry is the man's unselfishness. He doesn't merely tear apart defenses from the 3-point line, the mid-range, and around the bucket with his underrated speed off the dribble, strength, and finishing, but it's the way Steph reads and reacts to double teams, how he elusively moves without the basketball and gives all the space in the world to the 4 other players around him at any given time. That's what legitimately makes Curry the best basketball player on earth right now. Against Boston, Curry put the Dubs on his back, averaging 31.2 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals per game on a 48-42-86 shooting split. We just witnessed greatness from the Chef, and his performance over these last 6 games will go down as one of the greatest all-time individual final showings in NBA history. We can't forget about the system around Curry that makes it all happen. It was the continued wing prowess of Andrew Wiggins. Two-way Wiggs was sensational all series, my hat's off to him. Off the bench, another first-time champion in Jordan Poole allowed Curry to rest with his ability to be the main ball handler. And how can we forget about the defensive backbone, Draymond Green? Dre's perimeter jumper was falling tonight. It was like it was 2016 again, and it was in clutch fashion, given it was a closeout game in the finals. Big time credit to Green. Even when that shot isn't falling, Green's passing and screen setting act as the engine to an advanced Steve Kerr offensive system. As a Raptor fan, I know my team is never going to get him, but those abilities make me want Draymond on my team. Along with Steph, Green, Wiggs, and Deadpool were also massive reasons for why Golden State went on a 21-0 run from the end of the first quarter through to the early second of Game 6. That forced Boston coach Ime Udoka to call 2 timeouts in the first 2 minutes of the second frame. That run from the Warriors was the largest scoring run in a finals game in 50 years. Golden State also had another vicious 12-2 run near the end of the second, which was mostly orchestrated by Curry flying past any Celtic put in front of him in space. Steph was unstoppable going downhill, drawing defenders, and manipulating the Celtics' defense in pick and rolls. After Boston's 14-2 start, the Warriors blitzed the C's after that, relentlessly bouncing back to close out the rest of the first half on a 52-25 run, turning the Celtics over 13 times in the first 24 minutes and 23 times in total when it was all said and done. Give credit to Boston for fighting back and ending quarter number 3 on a 16-4 run, but one thing we learned from these finals is that when you're careless with the basketball and don't value every possession for a full 48 minutes, the fierce, locked in, now 4-time championship winning Warriors are going to make you pay. Klay Thompson wasn't his typical Game 6 self, but deserves a ton of credit for being the Warriors' second leading scorer throughout the playoffs and playing at a very high level on both ends of the court, something many skeptics questioned was ever possible again after his injuries. Kudos to one of the greatest marksmen in league history in Klay, whose return to complete the legendary Big Three of he, Green, and Curry made championship number 4 possible. We'll get to the unsung heroes on the court for this Steve Kerr-led, Bob Myers-managed, Joe Lacob-owned ball club, but the sweetest part about this victory, if you're a Golden State Warrior fan, or if you're a part of the Warrior franchise, is all the doubt they faced from the media and fans. As Curry said right after the game to Lisa Salters, back in the preseason, no one on earth was predicting the Warriors to be here except the 15 guys in that locker room. No one gave the Warriors a fair shake from the beginning of the season, so they weren't shook when no one was picking them to win the finals. Still no one was picking them when they were up and on the verge of closing it out. After Golden State went up 3-2, ESPN's J.J. Redick said the bigger Celtics would win in 7, definitely a bold take, which didn't turn out to be the greatest one, just like my Celtics take. But ultimately, Golden State's vocal leadership, experience, and coaching adjustments ended up outclassing Boston, and it's surprising, looking back on it in hindsight, that the Warriors were such massive underdogs entering this series, with ESPN giving them a mere 14% chance to win this series against Boston. Stephen Curry was the best player in these finals by far, and while the Celtics have a ton of depth and they're incredibly lengthy and pesky, so many of us forgot how the impact of one player can have in the game of basketball. You'd think we'd have known that by now after LeBron made damn near 10 straight finals last decade, but still, most of the fans and media had Boston entering this series. That analysis merely ended up acting as fuel to Stephen Curry's fire, who, as he stated himself, saw every bit of the chatter. I can't even begin to imagine the emotions going through Steph when that final buzzer sounded. The man did absolutely everything for these Warriors, as the face of the franchise and the NBA at the moment deserves every bit of respect, whether you're a Warriors or Celtics fan. My take on how the Celtics fumbled the bag is going to be posted tomorrow, and of course I'll have respect for Curry and these dubs all throughout the offseason. The 2021-22 campaign has been quite the journey, and through my daily uploads, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for sticking with me. I'm going to do a video reviewing the teams that became a staple on this channel throughout the course of the season, whether it was the Bulls, Mavericks, or whoever, but this year was a roller coaster and extremely unpredictable as it turned out. Ultimately, the team with the most composure, championship experience, and the most talented player ended up getting it done, as Stephen Curry and the 2022 Warriors can mark their names on the Larry O'Brien Trophy and will go down as an unforgettable group. 2 shoutouts next video, but what makes this victory so sweet for Stephen Curry? Appreciate every answer. D-Flow signing off.